Hey everyone, and Sonic Frontiers has now been officially out for just over 1 week. With all the waiting, anticipation, leaks, rumours and speculation now finished, I can finally review my time with Sonic Frontiers. Sonic Frontiers is the latest 3D entry in the series and takes a very different approach. Most will say it looks like Breath of the Wild, and whilst it does share some similarities with it, it's a clever combination of Mario Odyssey with its constant barrage of collectibles scattered in an open sandbox, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, Lost World, and Generations, as well as Sonic Unleashed. It's really the culmination of all 3D Sonic thus far. And this review will be separated into 4 sections, being the story, the open zones as in the islands, cyberspace, and my overall verdict. So, one of my biggest complaints about the Sonic series as a whole was always the world building and storytelling. In my opinion, we haven't had a really good story since Unleashed, which was released in the late 2000s. This game focuses on Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy and Eggman, who are all searching for the Chaos Emeralds, which have mysteriously appeared in the Starfall Islands, which are the main locations for this game. However, due to circumstances, Sonic, Amy, Knuckles and Tails are all sucked into cyberspace, and it's now up to Sonic to save his scattered friends who are trapped in sort of a in-between limbo state in cyberspace in the Starfall Islands. Without going into spoilers, which I'll have a separate video on the true ending and the spoilers, Sonic Frontiers' story is good, but isn't great. It just misses the mark. I think as a story, it does its job really well, and it's the best story in a Sonic game that we've had since Sonic Unleashed, but it ultimately falls flat in certain aspects and just needed a bit more explaining of a few things in general really. A couple of things that could have gone into more detail with were the ancient race that is constantly mentioned throughout the game, who essentially inhabited the Starfall Islands and essentially fell to ruin, which are part of the story. Again, I don't really want to go too much in detail to avoid spoilers. And the final boss. Now don't worry, I'm not going to spoil the final boss or show it in this video, but in my opinion it feels rushed, and the sort of final enemy isn't really significant compared to the past threats we've had, such as Perfect Chaos, Dark Gaia, or even Eggman in some cases. One thing they got bang on, however, is the continuity of the lore, as Sonic and the other characters will actually reference past events and locations from the classic games, Dreamcast era, modern era, classic era, and even Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric and Team Sonic Racing get shout-outs in this game. Like actual lore from those games is mentioned. And to be honest, I don't think that we've had sort of this sort of lore mentioning since Sonic Generations, where he casually references Sonic and the Secret Rings and Sonic Colors.
Kinda reminds me of where we found Babylon Garden. Yeah, I wonder what Jet's up to.
Now, next up is the open world. The biggest concern going into this game for me was the transition into a fully open world Sonic game. I think the closest we've ever come to this would be Station Square in Sonic Adventure 1, or the hub worlds in Sonic Unleashed, as well as sort of, I guess, Sonic Lost World maybe? I don't know. But after 100% in the game, I can definitively say that the open zones were again really good, but they didn't quite live up to their potential. I think that there were some really good ideas here, but the open zones feel empty, with sort of random platforming objects floating in the sky, such as random rails, springs and platforms, and it looks really weird compared to the open world. And to be honest as well, there weren't that many enemies scattered about the open world, and once you defeat them, until you can get a sort of special event with meteorites to spawn in, the enemies don't actually spawn back. So if you defeat the entire sort of world, the enemies just aren't there, and you essentially just have an empty open world that you can run around in. And there's also these weird like 2D sections in the open world that essentially force you out of the open world. The point of these open zones is to collect memory fragments, however this will progress the main story. Each island is dedicated to either Amy, Tails, Knuckles, etc, and collecting their memory fragments gains some really nice cutscenes with them, especially with Tails and Knuckles. I feel like Amy didn't really have as good characterization, but I think Tails and Knuckles actually get a character arc in this game, and for Tails especially, it's really good. Like, he actually gets a full character arc, which is brilliant, which addresses some of the criticism of Tails that was brought up in Sonic Colors and Forces. But as well as collecting memory fragments, you also have to fight mini-bosses to collect portal gears, which open levels in cyberspace. These then allow you to gain keys to collect the Chaos Emeralds, which will allow Sonic to fight each Titan boss, which is like at the end of the island, of each island, if that makes sense. So with each island there is one Titan boss. So, firstly, I'd like to say that the mini-bosses are mostly fun, with a few being very annoying, such as the Shark mini-boss, and I do not want to spoil the Titans as they are the biggest high point of this game for me, especially the first one. It was brilliant. And after collecting the Chaos Emeralds on each island, Sonic then has to take on these Titans as major bosses, which are some of the best in the series, with, as I said earlier, the first Titan being Giganto being my second favourite boss fight in any Sonic game. Like, straight up, I thought it was amazing. Now, next up is the cyberspace levels and cyberspace in general. These are the more traditional 3D Sonic levels that are like Forces, Generations, Colors and Unleashed. These levels range from 40 seconds long to sort of 3.5 minutes. And one big criticism that has been addressed here for me is that Sonic games since, I guess, Lost World, the level design has been terrible, and also the length of the levels has been terrible, with obviously Sonic Forces being the big outlier there. That the fact that the game can be completed in 2 hours is atrocious. Now that I have completed the game, I can pretty much say that these levels are all recycled from past Sonic games, however, with a few examples being Windmill Isle from Sonic Unleashed, Radical Highway from Sonic Adventure 2, and more, such as Sky Rail, Metal Harbour, etc. It was really nice seeing some of these familiar levels and layouts return, but I would have liked to have seen some new level themes, as in this game the cyberspace levels are actually only based on 4 themes, being Green Hill Zone, Chemical Plant Zone, Sky Sanctuary Zone, and a sort of generic city theme which looks a lot like Empire City from Sonic Unleashed, but I think is more meant to be City Escape. With Frontiers though, we do also get some more cool additions, one being a fishing minigame with Big the Cat, which is really funny, let me just say, that it lets you catch fish, collectibles, and even game secrets such as video logs, which actually like have Eggman talking about past events and characters, which are really cool to listen to. And whilst you're playing the fishing minigame with Big, you also get to listen to some like chill out lo-fi hip hop background music, which is really cool to listen to. And for me, another hit or miss addition to the series was combat, again, which had me quite concerned, as I think the last time we had combat in a Sonic game like this was Sonic Unleashed. And this game's combat feels like a really dumbed down version of Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, with a skill tree that you can fully unlock and complete by the first island, which makes the game way too easy, even on hard mode. And in roughly about 18 hours, I've managed to 100% the game and platinum it, which should tell you sort of all you need to know about the game's length. Overall, I'd give Sonic Frontiers a 7 out of 10, as I feel like it was a great step forward for the series, with highlights being the really good cyberspace levels, amazing Titan boss fights that were really good. They genuinely, one of them, actually no, 2 of them had my jaw drop, they were that good. Some really good exploration, and great movement as well, as it also feels really good to just run around as Sonic. But the game is ultimately let down by huge amounts of pop-in, stale combat, annoying mini-bosses, and a few aspects of the story that aren't explained in proper detail. Just as a quick little extra as well that I'm adding in sort of post-editing, as of writing this game, it also contains free downloadable content in the form of costumes for Sonic. Right now you can download the Explorers Pack by pre-ordering the game, or getting the, I think it's the digital version of the game, which gives Sonic sort of a Indiana Jones type outfit. You can also get the Rathalos 2 armor sets from Monster Hunter from Capcom, which are really cool. I know those came out, I think, either yesterday or the day before. And you can also get the soap shoes from Sonic Adventure 2, which were really nice to see. And playing the familiar layouts such as Metal Harbor, was it Green Forest and City Escape, those level layouts with the soap shoes was just really nostalgic for me. And all of the cyberspace levels can also be replayed in arcade mode with leaderboard scores, and you can also collect rings which show like a ring counter, the sort of typical Sega S, A, B, C, D ranking is back, as well as red rings as well. So anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. This is my Sonic Frontiers review. If you want more reviews, I've got a Bayonetta 3 review coming out, I've got a God of War review coming out, and as a God of War Ragnarok review, and I've also got in the future planned a Pokemon Scarlet review coming out as well. This review was captured on a Xbox Series X, and overall I had really lots of fun playing the game. I think it's the most positive that I've come out of a Sonic game since probably Generations, which is says all you need to say. Actually no, probably since Sonic Mania. Let's give Sonic Mania some credit. And for me, Sonic has just been on a terrible path, and although this doesn't completely, this isn't an 8 or a 9 out of 10 game for me, but it's very close. So anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, like and subscribe and all that, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.